How do you make sure you can differentiate your product enough so you can beat the existing listing? Several thoughts. One is that you might not necessarily be just looking to beat a listing in particular. Like, that makes it sound like you're tunnel visioned on one particular listing and your goal is to beat them out of their place. This ties into the market size versus competition point on the last one. Is you're not always looking to be the number one. You're not always looking to have everyone else fail just so you can succeed and figure out ways to take them down just so you can get a piece of the pie. It's more about how do you fit into the mix? And obviously you want to try to be the best in a lot of ways. I'll talk about that in just a second, but realize that in most cases, we're not talking about being number one and still hitting, $10,000 a month, $20,000 a month, $5,000 a month, $50,000 a month on a product. Markets are all different sizes, and it's not necessarily about singling out one competitor and then figuring out how you're going to beat them out of their spot. Maybe you come in, maybe you never become number one, and that's fine because you're still making more money than you ever thought you were going to with this. So now in terms of differentiating and actually achieving your goals, let's say, rather than just figuring out how to be number one, there's a few things. On one hand, you kind of want to figure out what are all the ways that I can be better. Even these listings that are doing well, do they suck in terms of are their photos lacking in some way? Are their titles, rambling? What are they doing wrong? Those are some ways to start. So you should have multiple angles that you're thinking of, and then moving into the actual product differences, you don't necessarily need 100, but if you have like a big product differentiation and then you can still be better in a few other ways, then that is a pretty compelling case, because we just need to figure out how to be an offer that people are actually going to choose to add to cart and purchase. So a lot of this can come through your actual market research and thinking about, what are people complaining about with this product? These are pretty obvious ones that you may have heard already, but can we look at the negative reviews and figure out what people are complaining about? Less talked about is, can we look at the positive reviews and figure out what it is that people actually like about these competitors, and how can we, emphasize that even more and improve upon this product? And this can also be done a lot through just keeping a sense of what's going on in the world in terms of design and trends, and how can I implement a little bit of that into the product that I'm looking at to give it a fresh new angle. And then a lot of differentiation will also just come down to the way that it's marketed. So do you have a particular avatar, a particular person that you're marketing to? Is it a younger demographic? Is it an older demographic? Is it, that's not even specific enough. You need to get even more specific and figure out what your product is geared towards. And then everything from the design to the way your copy is written is going to be in a cohesive voice that ultimately helps to lead your brand. And those things, when they're all added up, lead to a higher conversion rate on your listing, which is ultimately what you're going to need if you want to convert those potential eyeballs into sales. But to wrap up this question in a more concise way, it ultimately comes down to creating a good offer. And I will link up a video that I made in the past about crafting your offer, and that is what you need to think about. There's so many things. It comes down to price. It comes down to every aspect of what somebody is going to see before making their purchase decision. That is your opportunity to differentiate and make yours a little bit different and make it the choice that people hopefully ultimately choose.